Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart Haverhill. He's Mike Big Buck Hoffner, or should I say Mike MSU Big Buck Hoffner, because he was at the game.
I was there live, Timmy. Great day. The Sparty's victorious. Go green.
Over the Buckeyes. You got to like that.
Got to love it.
And that was pretty much the greatest. Was that the greatest day of your life? Or
No.
taking a big buck was the greatest day of your life? Or
It was the third greatest day of my life. Getting married was number one. Bucks number two. MSU number three. But I'll tell you what. We have bragging rights in the state of Michigan. We not only can play football, but we can shoot bigger deer too.
There you go. Notice I put his wife there at the top. Obviously, somebody has made a mistake like that before. And I think it's
did.
you. Okay. All right, well, this week on the Q1 Buck Poll, we've got new bucks from all around the state. We've got hunter ed instructor recruitment. Sergeant Tom Wanless is going to be with us from the DNR. And, you know, a lot of people like to help kids get in the outdoors. Here's a great way to do it. They've got classes for the instructors.
It's all about the education and planning for the future.
We also are going to have CO Rich Nichols with us this week, and he's going to be talking about scouting public land for deer. There's still time to be out in the woods, and for some, you just got to kind of look for those signs right now.
I'll tell you what, though, scouting that public land, it separates the men from the boys. Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, private hunters got an advantage. You got to go out and do it the old-fashioned way.
Exactly. And also, this week we're cooking up something special from Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. Chef Drew Miller is with us. Venison stuffed acorn squash, delicious.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
segment.
yeah.
I'm already salivating.
Last week the steak was awesome.
But,
you know what I'm
let's clean
saying?
up here.
All right, and then we've got a little tip from Hicks Outdoors. They're going to be talking about safety vests. Mark Curley and Ryan Tebow are going to be with us. So we got a good show this week. A lot of information. Bang, bang, bang. Next thing you know, it's going to be fastest half hour in hunting television.
And before you know it, we're starting next season all over again.
You got it. February 7th, we're going to talk about that coming up. That's our final prize party. Stay with us. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Firekeepers Casino and Hotel present the Q1 Buck Poll. Welcome back to the Q1 Buck Poll. Well, it's time for new bucks. We're out of the state with Mike Big Buck Hoffner. We want to tell you, though, that you've got until December 31st to get your buck or doe registered in the contest. Take your rack in, get it scored, and then we'll see you at some of the prize parties coming up in January.
Yeah, time's running out, but not for these folks. Let's start with Drew Vikas from Southwest Michigan. Brings in an 8-pointer, the score 45.125. Jeff Van Doren from Southwest Michigan brings in a 10-pointer, the score 49.375. And Norman Sturr from Mid-Michigan, 13-pointer with a score of 48.
Great bucks from around the state. Well, each week we have a chance to talk to the DNR, and this week we're talking to Sergeant Tom Wanless. We're talking about hunter ed instructor recruitment because, you know, Mike, it's so vitally important to get the kids in the outdoors, but there needs to be more classes out there, and so they're looking for more instructors.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. It's really, really, really critical, and I think it's really important for the future of deer hunting. And it all starts out with the training. And I know, you know, being in the education business, many times I have a lot of folks that come into town saying, hey, I love being around kids. I'd like to, you know, substitute teach. How's this done? This is your opportunity to be a teacher, but to teach what you love to do, and that's hunting.
Welcome back here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Today I'm talking with Sergeant Tom Wanless. He heads up the hunter education program here with the DNR, and welcome to the Buck Poll.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, let's first of all talk about hunter education. Who has to take it, and who is it for?
Well, I guess let's back up before we get into today, and let's go back a little bit why we have hunter education in Michigan. Statistics have shown in the past, before hunter education was implemented, that the number of injuries and fatalities during when people were out hunting was extremely high for that type of a sporting event, if you want to call it that. In the early 1970s, 1971, they implemented hunter education as a requirement for those hunters between the ages of 12 and 16. When we did that, you started to see a slight decrease in those fatalities. In 1988, they actually implemented and made mandatory hunter education for anyone born after 1960. And again, the numbers have continued to go down. Our numbers are extremely low when it comes to fatalities in hunting cases. That law still stands today. Anyone born after 1960 in the state of Michigan who wishes to purchase a hunting license must take hunter safety. Also, those that were born prior to 1960, if they want to go out of state and hunt out west, they need to take hunter safety too, because most of those states require, at any age, a hunter safety certificate.
So you don't want to go out west, and then for the first 2 days, you're taking hunter ed.
Absolutely. You take it here, make it a lot easier on yourself.
All right. Now, you guys are recruiting, and you're looking for people to be hunter ed instructors. Tell me about that position.
Yeah, we are looking for hunter ed instructors. Currently, we have about 3,000 instructors statewide, and people say, "Wow, that's a big number." It is, but we have less than 1,000 instructors that are actually actively involved in teaching multiple classes. Those instructors teach in teams. A lot of them are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 individuals who put on one hunter education class for 20, 30, 40 individuals. That's what we have out there right now. We are looking for more because the instructors that we have right now, a lot of them are getting up there in age. They're getting tired. We have instructors that have been doing this for 40-some years. It's incredible, you know, the patronage that they had towards the program, and they're still active today. But what we're looking for the next generation of hunter education instructors that can pick up where they left off to ensure the heritage of hunting.
Well, and a lot of hunters out there, I mean, they have grown up with, you know, moms and dads teaching them some lessons, and this would be a good way and an opportunity for them to kind of give back, and we're really not talking about a lot of time to be a hunter ed instructor, are we?
No, the commitment to becoming or to being a hunter ed instructor is you've got to teach at least one class every 2 years.
Okay.
And you have to teach what we call a hunter education instructor workshop. You have to actually participate in one every 3 years. That's the minimal commitment that you have to maintain your qualification as an instructor.
Now you talk about qualification. What are some of the qualities that people would need to have to be a hunter ed instructor?
Qualities, first and foremost, because you're dealing with a diverse background of people from all walks of life, patience. You have to have patience. Honesty, integrity is another one. Being able to take the program that we have and go out and teach it. It's a big commitment, and that's dedication and commitment is two big characteristics that are needed. They're volunteer instructors. They do not get paid. Some of them do put in a lot of hours because they run a lot of classes. So those are the types of qualities that we're looking for as an individual. In addition to that, one thing that we are looking for is in Southeast Michigan. We are looking for female instructors, and we are looking for persons of color becoming instructors. We're really looking for those two user groups to step up and help out.
Just to kind of diversify things so that
Absolutely.
The students out there that can kind of relate to the instructor type of thing.
Absolutely. That's what our intent is.
All right. And obviously somebody's going to have a background check and
Yes.
go through that whole process too.
Yes. Yep. Our process, basically, they fill out an application, they will take an exam, and then what they have to do actually is they have to get a mentor. Before they even submit their application packet to us, they have to find a current hunter education instructor in good standing and have them sign that they're willing to work with this individual as a team player. And then that gets submitted to Lansing. We do a background check, some other things on the individual, and once all said and done there, we notify you, you get your hunter safety certificate instructor card, and now you go out and you teach with your mentor until that individual feels comfortable with you that you could run a class on your own. However, we don't let people run classes on their own. We always have a minimum of 2 deep instruction, so you at least have to have 2 instructors there, and most instructors work as a big team of 5 or more instructors.
Well, you know what? It's more fun.
Exactly.
So get your buddies, get your friends, and come and give back to the young ones that are getting ready to take classes.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else that we need to know about being a hunter ed instructor? Is there information on the website? Where can I get more?
Yeah, you can go to the DNR website, michigan.gov, actually /hunter education, and that'll take you right into the hunter education page, and there's a lot of information on there about not only hunter education instructor, but also hunter education classes.
All right, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Sergeant Tom Wanless here with the DNR talking about hunter education and how you can be an instructor. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buckport. February the 7th is the date. That's the final party for the Q1 Buck Pull Prize Party. We're giving away the ATV. We've got muzzleloaders, crossbows. We're going to have drawings. We're going to have some great food. It's all going to be at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. One of their chefs is coming up later on in the show. And Mike, you and I both know when you're at the final prize party, it rocks.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, we meet a lot of great people. We get to fill our stomachs. We have just a great time, have a lot of laughs, get to see a lot of the products that are sold out there. It's just a great day all around.
All right, it's time for Bucks here on the Q1 Buck Pull.
Edward Prim with a 10-pointer from Mid-Michigan. The score 39 3/4. And Scott Luce from Mid-Michigan brings in a 10-pointer. The score 45.625.
Okay, if you don't have private land, what do? You go out to the public land and you hunt. But there are certain things that you should do when you're out there. First of all, stay away from anybody's stand. And secondly, there's different signs to look for, where to put your tree stand or your blind, because there's still time to be out in the woods.
Yeah, you know, I think that's probably the ultimate challenge, is being respectful of others, because I know deer hunting, you kind of pick your territory out, and if you see signs of other people hunting, respect it.
I'm now with Conservation Officer Rich Nichols from Clinton County. Welcome to the Buck Pull.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Today we're going to talk about tree stands, we're going to talk about baiting, we're going to talk about tracking with dogs. And let's first of all start with tree stands. What are some of the rules and regs on public land with a tree stand?
Hunting public land with the tree stands, big things to remember. The tree stands can't be put out before September 1st, and they have to be removed by March 1st of the following year. Additionally, a name and address has to be affixed to the tree stand, written legibly, that can be read from the ground. And screw-in steps or anything that penetrates the bark of a tree is not legal on public property. That includes any type of bow hanger use. It can't penetrate the bark of a tree. Some additional things I recommend with the tree stand, it's not required by law, but I do encounter quite a bit of tree stand theft on state land. So I do recommend, in addition to the name and address being affixed to the tree stand, have it etched in your stand or ladder, climbing sticks, whatever you're using, and invest in a good cable lock and padlock system.
I think that's obviously key on anything like that, right?
Correct.
Well, try to prevent the theft of your tree stand. You get your spot, get all set up, go there, and no tree stand. So now let's talk about the baiting issue. What are some of the rules that people need to follow on baiting, not just on public land, but I'm sure it's similar to the private land baiting.
Correct. Baiting is allowed in Michigan, aside from the core TB area in the northern Lower Peninsula. Things to remember with baiting: your 2 gallons is a limit when it comes to bait. A lot of people have a misconception that's 5 gallons, but it is 2 gallons. Learn how much 2 gallons is. Think of it as half of a 5-gallon bucket or a little less. It's got to be spread out on the ground, a minimum 10 by 10 area. Make sure it's spread out, and it can only occur as early as October 1st, and then it must end by January 1st. So it's during the deer season. Can't start before October 1st. Mineral blocks are legal in Michigan, but they are part of the 2-gallon bait limit. And we do recommend that any mineral block is crushed up and spread on the ground.
So again, you're talking about spreading it out, just don't take and dump a pile.
Correct. Spin cast feeders are legal as long as they do not exceed the 2-gallon limit. But the big thing I see is people just dumping it on the ground, not spreading it out, and of course exceeding the 2-gallon limit.
All right, so we talk about the 2-gallon limit. All right, let's say I have spread out some bait, and I've done it the right way, 2 gallons. All right, and I come back the next day, and some of it's gone. Can I put more out?
You can put more out as long as at one time it does not exceed the 2-gallon limit there at that hunting spot.
Okay. All right, so now let's talk about tracking with dogs. It's becoming more and more popular. People tracking with dogs. Is that something we can do on public land?
You can do it on public land. The exception to public land is the dog can't bark when you're tracking it. There is a group of certified trackers, blood trackers they're called. You can locate your nearest blood tracker by going online and just doing a search for them. They're required to be certified through the department, and they will contact us when they're doing a track. The licensed hunter can accompany the blood tracker, and if they recover the deer, if it's mortally injured, mortally wounded, they can dispatch it, but the weapon can only be loaded at the point of kill.
And if you've got questions, people can just go online. A lot of these rules and regs right online, aren't they?
They're on the DNR website. Or if they're out in the field and they need to answer quickly, they can always contact the RAP hotline also to get an officer to either respond or maybe have a question answered.
All right, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Conservation Officer from Clinton County, Rich Nichols, has been our guest today with our DNR segment. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Bowl. Back here on the Q1 Buck Bowl, Tim Hart Haverhill, my Big Buck Hoffner. Every time Big Buck's on the show, you know what that means? Big bucks from around the state.
Well, I'm ready this time. I wasn't ready the last time, but you got me fired up and ready to go. Let's start out with Tim Vorst from Southwest Michigan with a 13-pointer. The score is 45. And finally, Brian Reynolds from Southwest Michigan, 15-pointer with a great score again of 59.
Time to cook up some delicious venison today. Our chef is Drew Miller from Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. Today it's venison stuffed acorn squash. Delicious.
I can't wait to try it.
We're at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. It's time to make up another fabulous recipe with venison. We've got Chef Drew Miller with us. And Drew, what are we making today?
We're going to make a venison stuffed acorn squash.
All right, so we're going to bake the acorn squash is what we're going to do,
Yes, sir.
and then add the venison to it?
Yes, sir.
That sounds delicious. Sounds like a sweet combination here. Is that right?
A little right on the line of sweet and savory.
Okay, so run me through the recipe, how we're going to do it.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to season our acorn squash with a little butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Get that in the oven, get that rolling. Then we're going to start our stuffing with a little ground venison, wild rice, sun-dried cranberries, and season that up with the brown sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg as well.
And then we're going to plate it and eat it. Is that
We're
right?
going to plate it and eat it.
So first thing, a little butter in that squash?
Yep, start with a little butter right in the center of the squash. And we want to just sprinkle it with a little bit of brown sugar. A little more, I think. A little bit of nutmeg. A little bit of cinnamon. That's really all there is to that. Now we'll get this in the oven and get that rolling. It's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour to cook. You want to make sure it's nice and soft. So we get that going right now.
All right, now it's time to make the stuffing part of our dish today. All right, Chef?
All right, we're going to start with a little ground venison. Pan hot on a medium-high heat. Should sizzle as soon as it hits it. Just kind of spread that out in there. And brown that up. That's what we're looking to do.
And part of the key here is just kind of keep stirring it, mixing it up.
Absolutely. You want to keep it moving. That way it doesn't burn up on you. Venison doesn't have a lot of fat content in it, so you'll lose it real quickly. There's not a lot of oil to protect it. We're just going to brown it up. We don't want to cook it too much because you're going to lose flavor if you cook it up long.
Okay. And do we have any seasoning whatsoever on this, or is it no
Yes,
salt
we will.
and pepper or anything
At the
like
moment,
that?
At the moment, we're just going to brown this up, hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper,
Okay.
and then we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients as soon as this gets brown.
And again, our acorn squash is doing its thing in the oven, so we know
Yes,
that
sir.
that's cooking, this is cooking. So really, how long do you think this whole recipe would take me?
This
About an hour?
recipe will take you about an hour total.
Because really we're waiting on the squash.
Yes, you're going to be waiting on the squash longer than anything. I'm going to get this going. This part of the recipe, 20 minutes,
Okay.
15, 20 minutes. You can cook your rice ahead of time and cool that.
Right.
That helps out a lot. So that's ready to go. The rice will take you about another 20 minutes.
So why cool the rice ahead of time?
Well-
so it doesn't stick?
yeah, it just helps it keep its integrity in the pan
Okay.
once it gets in with the venison.
All right. All right. Learn a little cooking here at Firekeepers. All right, so we got the venison all nice and browned up.
All right. All right, so next we're going to add our rice. And add that in there. Mix that in real good. Along with our sun-dried cranberries. Now you're going to want to take these and soak them in a little room temperature water for about 5 minutes just to soften them up a bit.
Okay.
So mix those in. Mixed up well. Stir in our brown sugar.
You know, brown sugar make everything good.
Yeah, sir.
I think. We put brown sugar in chili, sloppy joe, you name it, we put it in everything.
Yes, sir. Get that brown sugar cooked down a little bit. Take the remaining cinnamon you have. Put that in there. and the remaining nutmeg.
You can smell the cinnamon right now.
Stir that up real good. And go ahead and taste this and season it up with a little more salt and pepper to your liking. You like it a little sweeter, a little less salt and pepper, a little more sugar,
Okay.
a little more on the savory side. You know?
So again, this is something you can customize your own taste.
Absolutely. So, and that's that.
So that's all ready. Now we're going to go get the squash. We're going to fill it up.
Yes, sir.
All right, Chef, it's time to plate it up. I can smell that squash.
All right, well, what we're going to do, you can see our squash is done now. We're going to take this and get it on our plate. Okay. Take a little bit of our stuffing here and just fill the insides of it. We're
Simple
about ready
and
to
easy.
go. Yeah, I like to use a little garnish, a little green on it, a little bit of chive, gives it a little flavor and a nice contrast. Simple and easy.
Simple and easy here at Firekeepers. Well, you know what it's time for now? It's time for me to take a little taste.
Sir.
Okay, now it's time to eat it.
Yes, sir.
Now it's time to taste it. So the proper way to eat something like this, mash it in, dig it out.
That's what I would do. Just grind it all together.
So just like this,
Yeah.
and then kind of here.
You want to get some of that squash in there too.
Oh, yeah. That was really good. Totally different kind of flavor here. That is very good.
Thank you, sir.
That is a good, quick, that'd be good to make up, and then, your kids are coming home from school, they could heat something like this up. Awesome meal. Chef, what a deal. I'm not going to let the chef taste, I'm just going to eat it all myself. Is that right?
That's all right.
All right, Chef Drew Miller with us here today at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. The recipes are online. They're on Facebook. Check them out. All right, for Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart-Haverhill. Thank you for being with us this week on the Q1 Buck Pull. Remember, anytime you're out in the woods, be safe. Sorry. What? Hello? Hello? Time for bucks here on the Q1 Buck Pull.